Okay, step number 2, and we already done this, so I'm just going to talk about it. We talk about our business. So we have our website, we have our social media. You might start to think about a brand voice, but we also had the purpose, right? So I just wanted to put it there, that it's something that kind of like recap we already did. But now there are some business angles that you can start to think. So there's a lot of, I think in the past, like one of the things that stopped me in these days was that I started to get back to my old books. I came across this new book and I wanted to try it out. And that got me distracted. That got me distracted into something that was resonating or not. Actually, even yesterday and today in the morning, before I started to do this in the afternoon, but like today, I woke up very early in the morning. So before I started my work, I was thinking about, I was reading through the book, and I was like trying to force myself into go down that route. Even at 6, when I started to record this, I kind of like started, I really tried to go, and follow the process, but it just didn't feel real for me. Again, I'm trying to bring the best energy that I have for what I want to share for others, for you to be able to build your business and whatever might come into place. So, and to your mind, I guess, like whatever is stopping me and things like that. And this is a very important one because I just really wasn't feeling it. Like I tried to copy, I'm gonna say, or to mimic the guidance for others. And I gotta say, like, this is a very good point, because I think in your life and whenever you're developing your business, you might encounter these moments, and they are okay. Like, they're very good moments. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not trying to diminish them. There's a lot of knowledge out there, and it has helped so many people. I remember when I was studying Buddhism, and way back, and maybe 24 years ago or something like that. And I was really into that. Like, I was really trying to expand the way that I saw stuff, and I really wanted to grow my perception of things. And one of the things that they say that I think was very beautiful too is that that it's not against any other religion, because those religions have bring comfort, I would say, to many people. So what they say is like, we will never say anything against, like, whatever religion you're in. It's not that didn't work for you and now you're here. It Again, it's not the problem with the religion. It's so easy to say, like, this religion is bad, or this is the and the this person and that person and this and what they're doing, and the countries. Like, we get into all that thing, when in reality, like, there's a lot of people that have found, you know amazing stuff for them in those religions. So it's not about that. It's about, what do I need? So it's a little bit like this, like with business. um, you know there's people that tell you that you need to be 1,000 times on social media. There's a lot of people that says to start one way or the other. Whatever. I really try to adapt to what others were saying, but again, with 20 years doing businesses, I this is what I am doing, and this is how I feel I need to go about my business. That being said, I don't know if it's related to some extent that I do have, like, I'm not trying to follow like a hype. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be smart and think about what's going to give me, or what's going to get me, and we will talk about it in the next video, what's going to get me to my freedom number, right? To that opportunity to go do whatever I want to do. Of course, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be smart, and I'm going to try every single way to fill that bucket, I guess, if we can call it bucket. But that being said, I also want to be, I also want to listen to my, I want to, I'm going to call it soul, but to my intuition, to my, to my gut, to something telling me, to the universe saying, I need to go this way. That's the way that it's easier for me. You can go about it any way you want. By the way, I'm not going to get obsessed with it. I'm just going to start entertaining the idea of business angles. So I'm going to speak about me. So the different business angles that I have for raising human kindness. So the most important one, I have it at the end because I want to do it for kids and for parents. I do. But I also want, like, the reason why I love the name and why I needed to go fast into registering the name, getting the domain and all that is because I really like the name. And by the way, it took me a long time to get to that name. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but at some point the name really came to me. I was even speaking with my teacher. Like, it was like 3 years ago before I even started to create an actual business. So we were at an event and something came, and I was just like, it's gonna be called this way. I don't know why. So I actually went and registered back then. And so for me, maybe it's because I have a very like deep desire of what I wanted to do. But mainly what I'm saying is, for me, I want to bridge practical modern life with deep spiritual wisdom. And and if I go more specific than that, because that could be very broad, I want to go into the idea that we are not in survival mode and we are in a way better place than what we think to tip the scales towards the positive in the world. And I know that I said a lot. You don't need to understand that necessarily. You don't need to agree with it necessarily. It's just the business that I want to build. It's more about that, and how, again, by challenging and opening our consciousness, like what we're thinking, how we're living life, like getting out of automatic pilot and really take control of life. Like, that's what I want to do. It. So for me, I have different angles for my business. I have for people in general, right? Like, what's the concept of it? I have like a little bit of a concept. How would that look like? I just created that. Then I have for entrepreneurs. And for example, this training is part of that, because the idea or the concept behind it is you can you can create a business, and by you getting that, by you being happier, by you being more inspired, by you growing your mindset about how you can make money, and using tools that are going to allow you to kind of like get past whatever it's in the way, whatever the voice of your opponent might be, by you having the opportunity to say, let's say you don't feel that you could ever have a business, right? Because no one in your family ever did. Everyone was very, I don't know, let's say struggling, like month after month, making ends meet, whatever. So why would what's special about you? So, by the way, everything that I'm saying is because it's, of course, there is a part of about me, right? So how can I see that? And there is a way that I can start to think about and expand that, and to say, of course, and again, it has taken me a lot of work to feel comfortable with the idea that, yes, that I'm worthing, I'm worth it, I'm deserving, I'm right there. So um, it's more about this idea. And one of the things that I want to do, both with with people in general and with entrepreneurs, is this idea of getting personal, and getting personal to the point of, like, not being afraid to 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 get deep into where something is coming from. Because, like, this was one of the most powerful things of, like, it's I was speaking about it in the podcast that I mentioned, that I'm like just 2 days away from finishing. But this idea that I don't need to make a decision if what I'm going through is good or bad. I know everything is good. Everything is for my growth. Everything. I don't need to make the decision. I don't need to make the assessment. Oh, is this what's going on right now? Is it good or is it bad? I just know that it's good. And then I can define if it needs my energy to find out why is that happening, or if it's just my ego that really wants the temporary relief and energy that it can get, and versus true fulfillment. So Again, there's a lot of concepts, but that is something I want to share, and there are ways that I kind of like want to start sharing. Um, One thing that I just love the idea is the idea of the opponent in your org chart. Like this is amazing. Like it's a I've all we've all been sharing this idea of the good angel and the devil kind of thing in each shoulder. But this idea is really more that it's not necessarily that. It's just that we always have this little rascal, but we can say how big of a role it's taking in our organization, starting with us. So, anyways, I have that for entrepreneurs, and then for kids, and for kids, it's like, again, the idea of how do we bring um, concepts, and how do I even reverse engineer um, success and fulfillment, not just success, because success might be, and then there's a lot of unhappy people. So how do I do it and what to do it? I have one training because I have a certification on spirituality for kids, and for me it's so much more than just spirituality. I know a lot of people connected with a religion or with something. I remember someone once that went somewhere and say like, I love that, but I want to get my kid to grow and to have the ability to decide for themselves. And for me, this training, it's not even about that you're gonna decide for your kid. For sure, your kid is gonna decide later what they want to do, what they want to follow, how they want to connect to their soul. But the concept of like being able to give to your kid a and it's not even about what the kid is seeing, but it's important, but it's not even about that. It's also how you're parenting them, so the experience that they're having when they're growing up. Anyway, all of this about my business, as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about, but you can start to play with this. So if you remember, I briefly spoke about my cousin's business um, that she has like a healthy cafeteria, but also she does some digital stuff and she does a retreat. So the idea here for her in Business Angles, for example, would be, what if she wants to target people that just want to be fit, but she can also go with limitations on health, let's say, like if you have any sort of allergy or something like that. And she can also go with kids and parents wanting to have their kids to have a better, a deeper, better relationship with food. Like she can start to look at different angles of, like, locally sourced uh, um, food and grocery and things like that, but also is of like doing meals pre-packed. Like she can start to see what are the different angles that she could bring into her business, and the same of whatever business that you're doing, just try to brainstorm. If you're having issues doing that, just try even a prompt saying, um, how how can you please help me with business angles, considering that my business purpose is this. I am very passionate about that. The more information and the more insight that you give to ChatGPT or Perplexity, like I've tried all of them and they're all very good. I think it's more about um, which one do you feel more comfortable with. One thing I would say about ChatGPT that I really like, Perplexity also has it, but Gemini, I don't think so. It's the ability to get from other chats. So basically, you can give ChatGPT instructions, so that's a very good thing first, to begin with. But also, you could, um, you know, it could learn, particularly if you have a paid version, like it could learn from chats and history about you. So there were moments that what I did was I literally recorded an audio and just shared like what was my dream, why did I want it to do, why was I passionate about it, like as much context as I could, like what did I did when I was growing up, how did I, how did I parent when with my older daughter that it's now 23. So it's a very big gap between her and my twins. So it's like I was a completely different mom, and I just didn't have the awareness. Like I'm not even carrying, or I'm in the process of not carrying the guilt of this. Like it's not about that, but I'm getting very personal so that AI gets to know me and then help me better. There's going to be a lot of debate on this. Like I said, I was even in a group that a lot of people is speaking about the effects of the environmental and things like that. And of course, I feel about it, but I like to think that I'm really. I mean, first of all, I am being more mindful on how I use it. And second of all, I am thinking, how am I helping in other areas? Because it's a really big game changer. There is this other concept that said that, like you're putting your life there, so it's gonna really know you. And you know, maybe I'm maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm just plain silly to do this, but I kind of like don't care. I actually think that like we're already very public in general. I think we've always been, like we've been influencing the world more that we know, but now even like from a technological perspective, we're very public anyways. And and again, I guess I'm trying to see the bigger picture. I might be wrong, so do anything that you feel comfortable with. It can take you longer, but you get to brainstorm. But if you can't, just try to say as much as you want to say, and maybe you use it for ideas and then go from there. But this would be the next step that I would ask you to do. Try to think about business angles, and it's going to be very relevant later when we um, talk about this definition. One thing I will say first is that since I really want to accelerate, like I really want to start and get as much, we will speak about this, but as many ways as I can to get to a next level with this business, like to just go all in, I might develop them all, but it's going to be with minimum viable products. I will share what it is, and that way to start testing and to see what's like really resonating the most, and then dedicate heavily into that to begin with until I get to a specific point. And the reason why I can do this, and the reason why this is, I think, important, is because I care about the three of them. There was one of the advices was, before you even develop anything, before you think of your product, before you think of whatever, just try to mention a few things that interest you, put them in somewhere that it's going to give you ranking of keywords and so on and so forth, and then you decide what you do. I think that's a very good approach. If you have really no idea what you want to do, you just want to do a business, whatever that is. There's other parts that they talk about, like ask friends if there's something that you could do for them and they would pay to get done. What would that be? And then, if you ask different people, then you kind of like validate it further, saying, listen, if I could do this for you and you need to pay me X, would you pay me? And if they say yes, then you go do it. Again, that's a very good idea. If you have no idea, like if you really don't know where to start and you just want to do something, it just depends. Like if someone tells me right now that it would have been a different answer, by the way, a few months. But if someone tells me right now, listen, if you would come and clean my sofa, I would pay you for that, and my carpets, because I have this or that, or my mattress. And it turns out that I have a vacuum cleaner that it's very good, that can clean. I would do it. Not anymore. Like for me, not anymore. I want to see, how do I make this happen, because this is really my passion. And versus the other is different. Again, is there a right or wrong? No. It's different needs and different moments and different it's just different ways. So any way you can see it, it's fine. Like you can do either, but for me this is important. But like I said, I might do something, I might do them all, but again with a minimum viable product, and then go from there. And in the next one, we're going to see the definition of minimum viable product.